Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
Union outrage over terminations right here at the one and only Ocean Club Resort. We've got the details straight ahead on our news.
A top cabinet minister makes his predictions about the 2017 general election. That story straight ahead.
A prominent union leader speaks out on the proposed idea of a national strike. That story is coming up straight ahead.
An investigation launched after layoffs and complaints at the Grand Bahama shipyard. And Grand Bahama comes alive with the launch of the new mobile service provider. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, 61 people lost their jobs at the one and only Ocean Club Resort today, reportedly due to guest complaints about the level of service offered at the luxury hotel. Labor Minister Shane Gibson says the hotel explained it needs employees who can better fit the overall vision and plan for the brand and will rehire new people. But the Hotel Maintenance and Allied Workers Union says that won't fly. Dana Smith reports.
According to Labor Minister Shane Gibson, the terminations here at the one and only Ocean Club Resort came on the heels of complaints from guests about customer service. Now, Gibson said hotel executives have informed him that the terminated employees will be replaced, but union officials gathered outside the hotel entrance today say they're outraged.
What happened here this morning was blatantly wrong.
According to Hotel Union VP Harrison Williams, employees received a call last night informing them to report to the property today, where they were given a check and a letter informing them they'd just been fired. A letter signed by Ocean Club's HR director reads, "As the company continues to work to improve service standards and meet the ever-increasing expectation of our guests, it has become necessary to realign and restructure parts of our resort operations. We regret to inform you your employment with the company will be terminated by way of payment of notice effective immediately."
The union is extremely outraged by it. We are upset because, again, they should have sat with us.
Williams said workers were completely caught off guard as the hotel, which is temporarily closed for renovations, had assured the union all jobs were secure.
It's a total surprise to everybody. We started receiving calls from early this morning. My first call came in about 7 o'clock.
The labor minister told our news team this morning hotel executives contacted him yesterday to advise him of their decision to terminate and replace 61 employees.
They were having challenges with a lot of guest complaints in terms of persons refusing to come back to visit the resort because of the lack of what they consider to be good customer service.
Gibson stressed the employee count at the resort is not being reduced and the terminated employees were paid in accordance with the law. He said although he wishes the terminations didn't happen, he understands the hotel's position and they're looking at ways to prevent this from happening again.
They talked about training plans in terms of training new employees to make sure they're able to represent the brand in the way they should. And according to them, they had guests paying up to $1,500 a night and more. And when they're paying that kind of money, they expect a certain level of service, which they showed us feedback from the guests in writing as to all the complaints that they had.
Gibson said hotel executives stressed the need for employees who can provide a certain level of service. The union said given the terminations are coming right at the start of the Christmas holiday, the news is a hard pill to swallow.
To be honest with you, it's like heartbroken. This is something else to show where the laborers in this country basically have nobody to defend them.
The one and only Ocean Club had closed due to damage sustained during Hurricane Matthew last month. It's expected to reopen on February 14th. Reporting for Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
Thanks, Dana. Well, despite being embroiled in several controversies over the last few years, Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray says he is running again in the Michael constituency. Speaking outside Cabinet today, Gray defended Prime Minister Perry Christie and the Progressive Liberal Party while also slamming the Free National Movement and its leader, Dr. Hubert Minnis. Jasmine Brown has the details.
Gray says when compared, there really is no competition between Prime Minister Christie and Dr. Minnis.
I am very confident that when you compare Christie to Minnis, it's like apple and a little swingy orange. So you would... no, comparatively speaking, I would rather the PLP on the worst day than the F&M on its best day.
Gray says he is not only confident in the PLP leader, but he is also confident in his re-election bid. The Michael MP says while he had not intended to run again, he felt he had to.
I'm in it to win it. I hadn't really intended to, but the way the country is going and the way I see the alternative to the present government, I am disposed to making sure it does not happen.
Gray has been called on to resign several times since the last election. He has defended himself over his alleged interference in a judicial matter in Mayaguana and over his involvement in a Chinese agri-fisheries proposal for Andros. Despite all that, he says he feels he will retain his Michael seat.
People vote for the candidate they believe will represent them the best. That's what I've seen in the last several years. And that's why I am confident that poor Walt Sanders, I can beat him. I don't even have a shade of a doubt in that. Inagua will be close. Mayaguana will be close. But when he leaves those two islands and come down to where I live, you know where I live, right? As Hard Hill in Acklands. I will wipe him out.
Gray went on to admit that there are issues that plague the Christie administration. The biggest, he says, is unemployment.
There are a lot of people unemployed. We believe that some things are in the mill. And once we could hire 5,000, 6,000 people and people have money in their pockets, they don't care who the government is.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. The two major unions representing more than 50,000 workers are now stepping up to support a proposed national strike. National Congress of Trade Unions President Bernard Evans is the latest union boss to back the move. Giorgio Bain reports.
That's right, Christina. Newly elected president of the Bahamas National Congress of Trade Unions, Bernard Evans, says he supports the notion of a national strike. And if the time ever arises, strike organizers would have the full support of himself and his union. Despite We March Bahamas organizer Renard Henfield saying that his comments surrounding the proposed national strike were taken out of context, NCTU President Bernard Evans joined TCU President Obie Ferguson in showing his support for the strike idea. According to Evans, strikes are the backbone of unions.
As for demonstrating and calling for strike and all that, we know the union, that's a mode of operandi, that we like to march, we like to demonstrate for justice and peace and all that stuff. And so we're encouraged by other persons or other NGOs who come out to demonstrate per se. But I endorse it, but officially we have not yet met to give our full endorsement of what's going on or full participation.
Evans, who attended the Black Friday We March Bahamas march, says that he was impressed by the turnout. He praised Henfield for the peaceful execution of the march and says now he awaits the results.
I was impressed, really. I was impressed that Bahamians have come to realize that there is people power, and when you have disappointments or you don't feel like you're getting fair justice or fair shake in this country, and you feel like something that needs to be changed, then you go and you submit for an opportunity to protest against such. And so I was encouraged by that.
The one critique that Evans had about the march was the attendance of politicians who he believes that the march was against. According to Evans, a march needs to be held to demonstrate against the organization of the government.
It probably was more strategic than anything else, maybe that's something that we should march against. Is the kind of governance we have in the country. It doesn't lend to good governance. As far as this is my personal opinion now. Whenever you have a system that we have that has an official opposition, if the Bible tells you that a house divided can't stand, all right, you can imagine my union where I have an official opposition. We won't move anywhere.
Evans says the next step will be to have an official meeting with strike organizers to see what can be developed. Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Bain. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Giorgio. In other news, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration Fred Mitchell says he plans on meeting with two of his cabinet colleagues to discuss issues raised by the union representing workers at the Grand Bahama shipyard. Mitchell confirmed that a complaint had been lodged by the Grand Bahama Port Authority Workers Union after more than 20 employees were let go from the Grand Bahama shipyard between July and November.
I'm expecting that there'd be a meeting which takes place between myself, the Minister for Grand Bahama, and the Minister of Labor to discuss the way forward from there.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says the Director of Labor is also looking into the matter and is expected to complete a report of his findings.
Yeah, I spoke to the Director of Labor. I think they're he told me that he got putting the finishing touches on the report.
Well, still to come on our news, Alive opens its flagship store on Grand Bahama. The Bahamas signed 7 new air service agreements and how you can help to make a difference for students with learning disabilities. That's coming up when our news returns.